Hey guys, my name is Moon and welcome back for more Umineko When They Cry, episode number 7. So last time, yes, it happened. The incident, at least in the golden room, with all the adults, right? And the only ones who are left is Kyrie and Rudolph. I mean, probably Beatrice is most likely still alive, right? And then Ava as well. But yes, let us continue and let's see what happens today.
何をする気だよ。この時間に今から
Butler yelled wildly into the receiver. When he said at this time of night, George and Jessica turned to look. According to the clock, it was past midnight. It might be a normal time to be told to brush their teeth and go to bed, but he couldn't understand what this test thing was all about.
わかったよ。変わるぜ。ジョージの兄貴に。うちの親父から。
It's my dad.
もしもし、変わりました。ジョージです。
Oh my god, what's gonna happen today?
おう、ジョージ君か。こんな時間にすまねえな。寝てたわけじゃねえだろ。みんなでいろいろ盛り上がってたんだろ。
Dude, these guys, man. Kyrie and Rudolph, they're gonna lure them one by one. It's gonna be like, unexpected. They're not gonna suspect any of this, of course. It's gonna be sad.
そんなところです。マリアちゃんは寝てて、いや、目が覚めたみたいです。それで、何の話ですか？バトラー君はテストとか言ってましたけど。
ん？ああ。親父にも困ったもんさ。さっき唐突に上から降りてきてな。いろいろあった挙句、どの孫が次の当主にふさわしいかなんて話に急になっちまってよ。
So yeah, this is basically the same thing that happened in episode number 4, right? They were having a test, but in episode 4, it was presented differently. But now I guess we're seeing how it really was.
次期当主はクラウスおじさんなのでは？
俺たち4人はみんな次期当主失格だとよ。それで俺たち親をすっ飛ばして孫から次期当主を選ぶなんて話になっちまったわけさ。急な話で俺たちも大いに荒れてる。向こうで兄貴たちはケンケンガクガクやってるぜ。姉貴の金切り声が受話器越しにも聞こえねえか？
そうですか。おじい様がおっしゃることなら仕方がないですね。それで僕たちはどうすれば？
ジェシカちゃんから順に一人ずつ呼び出しがあるそうだ。ちょっと待ってくれ。もしもし。トップバッターはジョージ君とジェシカちゃんだそうだ。ジェシカちゃんは屋敷の客前、ジョージ君は礼拝堂の前まで行ってほしいそうだ。
いきなりのことで心の準備が全くありませんが、テストって何ですか？
親父のやつめ、おかしなクイズみたいなものを作ったみたいだ。
I really feel really bad for them. They're gonna be walking into a trap, basically. I mean, they're trusting these people because, yes, it's Uncle Rudolph.
当主の心構えとは何ぞや。
Of course, a few things about this seemed off to George. However, Kinzo was famous for doing radical things on a whim. Even this strange test seemed plausible once he heard that it was a sudden idea of Kinzo. But even so, if he wanted to test them one by one, why wouldn't he call them out one by one? They could have just had everyone wait in some reception room to be called in one at a time. When or why would two people be called to different places at the same time? The plan didn't seem to make sense, and George felt he was missing something.
しかし なんだってジョージ君は礼拝堂前なんだろうな。じい様が特に要望してる。よくはわからねえが、二人きりで話したいことがあるそうだ。
おじい様が僕に？
何の話だろうな。ジョージ君は孫の中で一番優秀だからな。何か特に話したいことでもあるんじゃねえか。とにかくそういうわけだ。すぐに移動してくれ。礼拝堂の方には俺も行くことになってる。さっさと済ませようぜ。お互い風邪をひいちまうわ。
そうですか。わかりました。では僕は礼拝堂の前へ、ジェシカちゃんは客前へ。はい、それでは後ほど。
What sort of test or private conversation could Kinzo probably want or possibly want to have at this time of night? Then again, it's a well-known fact that Kinzo doesn't have long to live. It wouldn't be strange if he wanted to give some sort of will to each of his descendants individually. Inside George's mind, the faint feeling that something was wrong was replaced by a desire to meet Kinzo directly and hear about this in more detail. George set down the receiver and quickly explained it to the others.
聞いたの通りだよ。おじい様が僕たち全員に何かのテストをしたいと言ってる。
テスト？
何年かぶりに書斎から出てきたと思ったら、こんな時間にテストごっこかよ。たくじいさまめ、何を考えてやがんだ。
それに関しては僕たちの親も同感のようだよ。かなり揉めてるみたいだ。
揉めたところでじい様には勝てないんだろうけどな。
そういうことだね。仕方がない。当主様の命令だからね。従おう。まず最初は僕とジェシカちゃんが呼ばれてる。僕は礼拝堂へ、ジェシカちゃんはお屋敷の客前だそうだ。
俺とマリアは？
追って連絡があると思うよ。ここで待ってて。
真夜中のテスト。なんだろう。どんなテストだろう。クイズ？パズル？マリア、狼と羊のパズルなら得意。
Maria, who was now fully awake, seemed to be very excited about this unexpected midnight test.
じゃあ俺たちは留守番してるぜ。
じゃあ行ってくれよ。もう待ってるみたいだし。
次期当主は孫の誰かにね。私には好都合だぜ。誰かに押し付けるチャンス。
マリア、次期当主になる。なりたい、なりたい。
マリアが次期当主ってのも悪くねえぜ。
じゃあね。また後で。
Rudolph put down the receiver and stood up.
さて、俺は礼拝堂前か。冷えそうだな。合田さん、戻ってきたら熱いコーヒーの用意を頼むぜ。
Next to Rudolph, Goda was lying face up. Damn, good they took out Goda already. They didn't even give him a scene. They just took him out off screen. His face was covered by a crossword puzzle book. However, its pages were stained with blood, and you didn't need to move the book to imagine how he had met his pitiful end.
どう？いい脚本だったでしょ？
ああ、親父に感謝だぜ。親父の気まぐれってことにしときゃ誰も疑いやしね
え。じゃあ手分けしていきましょう。私はジェシカちゃんを、あなたはジョージ君を。
おう、手際よく済ませてのんびりコーヒーでもすすろうぜ。
大丈夫よね。今頃になって両親の呵責とかないわよね。
Kyrie smiled coldly. It probably would have been safer to call them out one by one and finish them off together. However, Kyrie had chosen to have her husband work separately. She wanted to measure Rudolph's resolve. If she was the only one who got her hands dirty and Rudolph just watched, his heart wouldn't be as dedicated to this venture. What is this music, man? By having him dirty his own hands, she could make him truly determined to see this thing through. Kyrie understood this sort of mind game better than anyone else. Rudolph reflexively averted his gaze from the cold glint in her eyes, but then he just shrugged and answered her question.
当たり前だろ。10億の金が手に入るかどうかの瀬戸際にいるんだ。俺も男だぜ。人生に二度とないチャンスを棒に振るつもりはねえさ。
それでこそルドルフさんよ。私はここ一番のチャンスを逃さない人が好き。そんなあなただから私は好きになったのよ。
おう、嬉しいぜ。
ルドルフさん、
なんだよ。
ずっといてね。
え？なんだって？
ずっと私の好きなルドルフさんのままでいてね。
当然だろ。俺がいつお前を失望させたよ。お前はそんな心配より祝杯をあげる時のシャンパンの銘柄でも迷ってろってんだ。
そうするわ。いい？バトラ君が大事なら礼拝堂前でジョージ君をやっちゃダメよ。死体を見つけられたら面倒でしょ。
ああ、分かってる。その辺にうまく誘い出すさ。雨の屋外だ。どうとでもなるさ。
西部劇の悪役じゃないんだからね。メイドの土産とか最後に言い残すことはとか、そんなことやっちゃダメよ。
Kyrie lifted up her gun and ran the lever to eject the casing from the round she had killed Goda with. She was the one who took Goda as well. Big mistake, yeah. Big mistake bringing this woman into the family. Big mistake. She's crazy. If Asumu didn't die, probably wouldn't have happened. There we go. I mean, yeah, obviously she was alive.
あなた。
Ava was holding Hideyoshi's body and crying. She hadn't been shot at all. So yeah, she got grazed. The bullet grazed her head and missed. She hadn't been playing dead. She really thought that she'd been shot. When Kirei's gun spat fire, Ava felt something fierce skim past her head. So I guess when it hit her, she would, yeah, just pretend that it hit her, and then she dropped down, I mean. But in reality, it didn't. Before feeling lightheaded and fainting. So I mean, yeah, if you still got grazed, it means that it hit you though. Then she had awoken in the now silent room of the gold. The remains of her beloved husband lay beside her, as well as Kraus, Natsui, and Rosa's corpses. It was a room of death and piled up bodies. The problem is with them is, yeah, when they found the gold, they were given the cash card. Rationality was pretty much thrown out. They weren't thinking normally anymore. They were just thinking of, I need this, I need that, so I can pay this, I can pay that, I can use this, I can use that. The greed instantly was put into their head, all of them. I mean, you could say in the beginning, the ones arguing were Ava and the Kraus, right? And Ava was being like shouting, being super emotional about it. But all in all of them were greedy. Yes. And this happened because of that. But yeah. Maybe Kirei would have killed them anyways. But still, their greed led to their downfall, all of them here. And now look at this, right? Look at Ava. Oh, now you got a lot of gold here. But yeah, your husband is dead, and soon your whole family as well. When she cried, all she could over Hideyoshi's body, she realized that she still had something she needed to do. Like in exchange for this amount of money, you lost everything. They're trying to use the bomb to blow up everything, to bury this whole island with an explosion accident. Of course, as Ava had expected, the switch on the clock was set to the right, which meant that it was active. Ava moved to flip it to the left and stop. That's right. As long as the switch points to the right, everything that happens will disappear in this night of illusions. This is an illusion. No matter what happens tonight, everything will become muddled and hidden away.
あいつらはきっと残りのみんなを殺すわ。そうに違いない、絶対に。
When she looked at a table with the box of bullets, she saw signs that they had roughly grabbed a bunch of bullets before leaving. It clearly showed that they planned to use that many bullets. I have to fight. If only to protect just the life of my precious son. The gun that I dropped when I was shot is stuck with the lever open. No matter how hard I pull, it won't open any further and it won't close again. Apparently a bullet has gotten jammed, breaking it. It's just as Kyrie said, loading a bullet is tough if you aren't used to it.
お願い、あなた。力を貸して。ジョージを守るために力を貸して。
In Hideyoshi's hand was Krause's gun, which she had been trying to pick up. Ava took it, prayed to her husband one more time, and tugged on the lever handle. With a light metallic sound, the golden casing spun through the air and bounced off the ground. When she timidly tried to push the lever back, this time it returned to its original place without any resistance. There was another metallic clang. It was the sound of a new bullet being loaded.
Hm. そんなことだろうと思ったわ。私にとって一番胸くその悪いゲームを見せて嘲笑ってやろうって魂胆ね。
I don't think it's to mock you. I think it's to show you what really happened, or what really, or how your family really is. Your mom and dad, your lovely mom and your lovely dad. In the game so far, various people have been suspected of being the culprit or an accomplice. The only difference now was that Rudolph and Kyrie were those suspects. I mean, yeah, in the other games, rarely, I guess, for Rudolph and Kyrie. Yeah, that's why I was like in the beginning, I was like, I want to know more of both of them, Rudolph and Kyrie. But we were more focused on other people, like for example, Kraus. No, let's say Kraus. I'd say Natsuhi. Let's say Rosa, Ava, right? Rudolph and Kyrie were pretty much not that shown that much, or in terms of giving them like full-on stories, I suppose, compared to the other characters. But now, yeah, we're getting this, and they're showing us that they were really the biggest suspects here, and Kyrie is the biggest one of all. However, to Angie, that was the most frustrating or infuriating plot twist possible. Even Leon was full of painful thoughts. Solving the epitaph was supposed to be the only miracle that could lead to a game without a single victim. But ironically, the tragedy hadn't been averted even so. Does this mean we aren't allowed to have a future where we all happily return from this island alive? Even if the epitaph is miraculously solved before that crime occurs, a miracle certainly will not occur. Those words, which I had heard in one of the fragments Burnt Castle had shown me, raced through my mind.
ベルンカステルさん、あなたは私にこの世界の素晴らしさを教えてくれた。そんなあなたがエンジェを傷つけるためだけにこんな物語を紡ぐとは信じたくない。ゲームマスターがあなたであることはもう私にも分かっているんです。教えてください。どうしてあなたはこんなゲームを私たちに見せるんです？
Of course, no one answered Leon's muttered question. The game created to mock Angie continued emotionlessly, with more terrible twists that didn't betray anyone's expectations anymore.
好きに最悪のゲームを繰り広げればいい。猫箱の中の無限の可能性の中の一つだと言いたいんでしょ？好きになさいよ、好きに。私はこんなことではくじけない。1986年10月5日の真実をいつか必ず暴いてやるんだから。
After meeting Kyrie in the parlor, Jessica was told that the test would be held in the dining hall, and she followed Kyrie there.
誰もいねえぜ、キリエおばさん。
Come on, at least let Jessica fight a little bit.
すぐに来るわよ。そこに座ってて。
Jessica sat in the chair she had been offered, looking nervous and agitated. Kyrie was by far the calmer of the two. Kyrie closed the door behind her, revealing the gun that rested behind it. Jessica was facing the other way, so she saw nothing.
キリエおばさんは聞いているんですか？どんなテストか。
ええ。すぐに終わるわよ。
そうだといいんですけどね。
As she complained, Jessica turned her head around and the tip of her nose bumped into a cold metal. Oh my god. Oh. It's just, it feels sad, man. Like, yeah, they didn't expect this.
何をするんですか？
後ろから撃つのはどうにも性に合わねえ。
Yeah, I feel bad for them. Jessica, George here. Yeah, they didn't expect that they were gonna die today. And by the hands of, yeah, their uncles. Or their uncle and their auntie.
危ないじゃないですか。一体何の真似です？
銃口を向けて引き金を引くってのは他に何の真似があるってんだ？
Rudolph reloaded rapidly and pulled the trigger again without any sign of hesitation. As the sound of the gunfire thundered through the rain, George grabbed at his side and fell to his knees.
おかしいな。やっぱり狙いより下にずれるぜ。この銃、癖がひでえな。
誰か助けて。ルドルフおじさんが。
Like, look at this. He's asking for help, but no one is there. George started stumbling away, still clutching at his side. His voice as he called for help was weak and thin. In comparison, Rudolph, who stood behind him, looked perfectly calm as he fiddled with his gun and checked his sights.
痛い。
It felt to George as though something had gouged into his side. It was so painful that he could barely stand and walk. He leaned against the trunk of the tree. After he crouched down, trying to cover his wound, he was no longer able to stand back up. George didn't have a clue what was going on. However, he had felt as though something was wrong this whole time. Of course, it was strange that he'd be called out alone to a place like this at a time like this. And yet, how could he have known that something was wrong? After all, his own uncle had told him that his grandfather was asking him to join the family conference. How could he have suspected?
悪いな、ジョージ君。痛えか？これなら背後から脳天をズドンとやった方が慈悲があったよな。何もわからねえうちにズドンじゃあまりに無慈悲かと思ったんだが、どうやら逆だったらしい。
どうしてルドルフおじさん、あんなに優しかったおじさんが
My kind uncle.
このことは忘れろ。
My kind uncle.
明日の夜には全てなかったことになってるから。
With a quick use of the lever handle, he loaded another bullet. The casing of the bullet that had pierced George's side heartlessly in front of him.
突然の不幸な事故でみんな死んじまうのさ。その瞬間まで俺たち親族は仲良くやってたのさ。そうなるんだ。だからこいつは気にするな。忘れろ。
So yeah, what Carrie and Rudolph are or is planning, I guess, is they're gonna finish everyone off and then they're gonna blow the island, right? And then they're gonna leave, change their names and all of that stuff, I guess. Of course, George didn't have a clue what Rudolph was talking about. All he knew was that Rudolph wanted to kill him and that he showed no trace of hesitation. His image of Rudolph as the ideal, cool, joke-loving adult didn't match up with the man standing in front of him holding a gun. I mean, yeah. I mean, the way, let's say, like all the adults, I guess, the way they're presented to the kids. Like, yeah, Hideyoshi as well, even though when it comes to money, he's greedy. Yeah, they're nice, at least when they're showing to the kids. At least. But yeah, of course, for example, like Rudolph here, we could see how his character was, like even in the other episodes, like behind closed doors. But yeah, still like, for example, like George and Jessica, to them, Kiri and Rudolph are what? Pretty much just their normal uncles and aunties that they have good relationships with. But in reality, they are like this, yes. They're different. They would kill them without hesitation. No, maybe this feels wrong because it feels or fits him too well. He has the same smile as though he's about to tell some hilarious joke. But he's pointing a gun at me. Why would that kind of funny Uncle Rudolph do this? It made him feel unimaginably sad and tears flowed from his eyes.
ルドルフおじさん、あなたのこと憧れてたのに。
いつも言ってたろ、ジョージ君。俺みたいな大人になっちゃダメだぞって。つまりはそういうことさ。来世では悪党を見抜く目を最初に養うんだね。ジョージ君ならできるさ。何しろ勤勉なんだからね。
He bit down the pain in his side. George tried to fight. Look at this. With the last of his strength, George threw his whole body into a roundhouse kick. Yeah, but of course, that's not gonna do anything now. He can't get close, I mean. At the same time, a fire spat from Rudolph's gun. The bullet pierced George's chest. George spun around as he fell amidst an outpouring of blood. He moaned wordlessly, clenching blood-stained teeth. A frigid gun was pressed harshly against his temple.
あばよ、来世でも立派な男になれよ。俺みたいな金に目がくらむ外道にはなるな。
ルドルフおじさんがお金で人を殺すなんて信じられない。
純真だな。殺せるんだぜ。金で人は。
People can kill over money. The ruthless trigger forestalled any further questions. George's hands, which had been covering his wound, dropped lifelessly. When Rudolph saw the last glimmer of life leave him, he sighed deeply and looked tired. Yeah, I think he's laughing because he couldn't believe what he had done. Yeah, I think that's it. That's why he's laughing like this. Like, why did I do this? Yeah.
案外こんなもんなんだな。
This was easier than I thought. Yeah, technically like that. Like, yeah. Shoot him and then... What I mean is, he was laughing because you could say that maybe he was... Yeah, compared to Kyrie, like Kyrie would just shoot anyone, right? I'm not saying Rudolph is much better. I'm just saying that maybe he has a little hesitation inside of him. But he was still gonna do it. But then once he have done it, yeah, it was like, okay. Rudolph looked up into the dark and rainy sky, the raindrops hitting him full in the face, and laughed with an indescribable expression, his tongue hanging out.
もっと良心が痛むと思ってたぜ。
Yeah, look at this. I thought my conscience would bug me more. So for him, yes, he was still a little bit not sure. But then of course he did it. And then yeah, he said, oh, it's easy.
終わってみりゃ。 案外こんなもんだ。
Rudolph laughed. This was probably just the thing Kyrie had hoped for. It had taken considerable effort to kill George. He may have been merciless, but the last traces of a conscience in Rudolph's heart had probably slowed him down. However, now that he had killed someone with his own hands, a turning point that few people ever reach, Rudolph had finally awakened. He finally understood.
バカから金を絞り取るのと全く同じことさ。いつもの石取りゲームじゃねえか。
The same old game of musical chairs.
目の前に金の山があったら早いもん勝ち。遅いやつは蹴落とされて地獄行きってわけさ。
Haven't I driven dozens of poor fools into debt with my earlier swindles? Several of those probably ended up bankrupt, and some of those might have hanged themselves. And I always laugh like it was none of my business. And that's all there is to it. The only difference now is that for the first time, I've dealt with the final blow with my own hands.
ありがとうよキリエ。いつもお前は俺の心の甘えを断ち切ってくれるよ。
He's gone crazy now. Rudolph's evil laugh rang out. The laugh was so purely evil, it was almost soothing. Hypocritical evil that still contains some pangs of conscience is far more repulsive to behold. If a man's committed to doing great evil anyway, how much more pleasant and gallant it is when he's wholly devoted to his goal. In that sense, Rudolph's evil smile and laugh were pleasant and gallant indeed. Which means the brutal bloody stage of the dining hall must have been soothing as well. Jessica. Like for Requiem, I just shot Jessica. Yeah, she just shot her. What is she doing? A clang, a thud, a crack, a squish, a strange mixture of this or these sounds that kept repeating over and over at the same tempo. Each time a red splash landed on a tablecloth dangling nearby.
ジェシカちゃん、聞こえてる？
I mean, she shot her already. What is she doing? Curie asked this with the sort of smile any aunt might make her to her niece. However, Jessica didn't answer. There was nothing particularly surprising about this. After all, by now her nose had been broken, her eyes had been smashed, her teeth had been knocked out, and not only her nose but her entire face was now hardly recognizable as a face. Just a lump of bloody flesh. My god. So yeah, she shot her, and then Jessica was gone, but it wasn't enough for Kyrie. She had to, destroy her face for some reason. Kyrie finally stopped her task of repeatedly smashing Jessica's face with the stock of her gun. Still sitting on top of Jessica, she tossed her gun to the side, pulled a compact out of her pocket, and looked at her own face in the mirror. Then finally, she realized that her face was covered by speckles of fresh blood.
ひどいありさまだわ。服も台無しじゃない。
With a muffled laugh, Akiri shakily rose to her feet. Jessica wasn't moving anymore. She had been convulsing a bit until a second ago, but now she was still as a stone.
女の顔を殴ることに関しちゃおばさん慣れてるのにごめんね。抵抗しないでくれたら綺麗な死に顔にしてあげられたのにね。
I mean, did she resist even? Like, yeah, the way it was shown though, she was just shot. When she turned her head, Kyrie just shot her instantly. Kirei pulled the tablecloth off and used it like a towel to wipe the blood from all over her body. However, instead of taking the blood off, it just smeared it around. Honestly, like we've been seeing the different episodes of the characters dying, but this one in episode 7 in the tea parties is it feels different because I think it feels real this time around. Even though we can say that a lot of different things may be the truth for what happened in ROKKENJIMA, this one it feels, I guess, the closest to the truth of what may have happened here. Or maybe it is really the truth, right? But yeah, it feels different when it's happening like this now compared to the other episodes. And did nothing to remove the stench of blood and death that covered her. When she got tired of rubbing the tablecloth against the blood, Kirei walked over to the extension line telephone in the corner of the room. Then she dialed the number for the cousin room in the guest house.
もしもし、私よ。今度はバトラ君の番よ。
Dude, what are they gonna do to Maria even? Yeah, that little kid.
今度はバトラ君が礼拝堂前に行ってちょうだい。ええ、そう。マリアちゃんの指示は受けてないわ。そこで待っててもらって。ええ、しっかりね。バトラ君が次期当主に選ばれるよう応援してるわ。
With a smile as usual and the party wiped splashes of blood still covering her face, Kirei finished her call to the butler. When she set down the receiver, there was a small knock, and Rudolph came back into the room.
おお、ひでえありさまだな。
ジェシカちゃん、思ったより反応のいい子でね。まさかあそこで払いのけられるとは思わなかったわ。
この死にざまじゃ、むしろお気の毒としか言えんね。夏日姉さんにのいい女が台無しだぜ。
What a waste a good Natsui-esque woman.
そっちは手こずらなかった？
問題なしだ。ちょろいもんさ。
When Kirei heard Rudolph's instant response, she favored him with an evil smile. Yes, the man she loved was a sword who could do it if he tried, without letting cheap emotions get in the way.
愛してるわ、ルドルフさん。そうでなくっちゃ。
Dude, I would run away, man. Hey, this is way too crazy. Or she's way too crazy. There's levels above that, I mean.
これで日当が10億出るならちょろい仕事じゃねえか。親父がよく言ってたぜ。
Can you be with someone like that? Seeing her like this, killing people with no problem? Hell no.
男は人生で一度人を殺す覚悟を持って臨む日が訪れるってね。
But the thing is, she is devoted to Rudolph, though. Yeah, she is devoted to him. So, yeah, she's not gonna do anything to him.
常に相手を殺してでも生き残る覚悟を持ってよね。お父様の言葉の中で一番好きな言葉よ。
お次はどうする？俺のライフルは血を求めてるぜ。
次は大仕事よ。バトラ君の説得。
おっと、そうだったな。こいつは面倒だ。引き金引かずに終わりたいもんだ。
私は気に入ってるのよ。エンジェとの3人家族の生活。でもどうしてもそれにバトラ君を加えたいというなら頑張ってね。
おう、グーの音も言わせねえつもりだ。大丈夫。うまく騙すシナリオも用意してるさ。
I actually am curious, though. Yeah, what was gonna happen between them, Rudolph and Butler?
頑張ってね。私もできることならエンジェの大好きなお兄ちゃんが爆発事故に巻き込まれないことを願ってるわ。
Because yeah, remember, at least in the story, in the other episodes, Butler would say that Rudolph actually went to him, right? And he was begging for him to come back. By, I guess, the last year of him not being there anymore. like on his knees even, for Butler to come back to the family. And how is Rudolph gonna do that? Like, yeah, sure, he did it with George, but George is not his son. Sure, George is his nephew still, but of course Butler is the son. I don't know.
分かってるさ。じゃあ俺は礼拝堂に戻るぜ。
ルドルフさん、
なんだ？
バトラ君が納得しなかったら。
Yeah, she's gonna say I'm gonna kill him.
分かってる。その時はズドンだ。
バトラ君は私との再婚に抗議して家を飛び出すくらいに行動力のある子よ。中途半端な丸め込み方で後日にいろいろと騒がれたら、彼は私たちの命取りになるのよ。
分かってる。俺を信じろ。
もしバトラ君が不信感を持ってると私が判断したなら、その時は私の手で殺すわよ。私の子供じゃないんだから。
ああ、分かってる。だからキリエ、一つだけ約束してくれ。
何？
もしバトラーをうまく丸め込めて島から3人で出られたら。
出られたら？
バトラのことを二度と私の子供じゃないみたいなことを言うな。お前は母なんだから頼む。
いいわ、約束してあげる。
Fury shrugged and answered as she loaded bullets. Rudolph didn't really say it though. He said it like, yeah, you shouldn't say that because you're his mother. But he didn't technically say that you are actually his mother, by the way. He didn't say that.
あなたは礼拝堂へ。私はバトラ君が出て行った頃を見計らってゲストハウスの連中をすべて片付けるわ。
大丈夫か？一人で。
そっちこそ。
Oh my god. Mother left the guest house under an umbrella. He had been called to the area in front of the chapel just like George had been. But yeah, compared to episode 4, George and Jessica were fighting Gaap and Ronove. They had a fighting chance, but at the end, it was showed that they died still. But here, yeah, no chance at all. Didn't even have anything. They didn't even hit them or try to fight back or anything like that. Yeah, George tried to kick by the end. His roundhouse kick, but what I mean is he was already shot. That was pretty much just a last bit before he died. Not even 30 minutes had passed since the time George and Jessica had been called out. Apparently this test didn't last too long.
クソじじいめ。昼飯にさえ姿を出さなかったくせに、こんな時間にのこのこ現れてテストだとは恐れ入るぜ。引きこもり生活で昼夜が逆転してやがるに違いねえ。
Complaining all the way, Butler strolled off into the rain. Almost immediately, he was swallowed up by the darkness of the rose garden and passed out of sight. And then, Fury could be seen coming out from the darkness of the rose garden. Her hand or right hand held a gun. Her left, an umbrella. Her inner pocket contained the master keyring she had stolen from Goda. Her right pocket had a handful of bullets. Her left held a knife she had taken from the kitchen. She was carefully and perfectly outfitted murderer. Another bolt of lightning struck downward swirling skies. It lit up only half of Kyrie's face. Her cheek was still covered with Jessica's blood. Under the eaves, Ikiri folded up her umbrella, smiled, and spoke to no one.
ただいま、みんな。
Rudolph could be seen under the eaves of the chapel. He had hidden his gun in the nearby shadows and was now smoking a cigarette.
あの単細胞を騙すなんて簡単なもんさ。うまくいかなきゃそれだけの話だぜ。
He glanced over at the place he had stowed his gun. The cigarette smoke began to pleasantly cloud his mind. Butler isn't a kid anymore. He's an adult who can choose his path through life as he pleases. When animals grow up, it's normal for them to form a group and go on a journey. Humans are the only ones that keep treating their young like kids even after they get
こん
big.
なことならお前に土下座なんかするんじゃなかったな。お前を連れ戻して後悔してるぜ。
He puffed out those words along with the smokes. When Butler came, he didn't intend to voice regrets of his. Rudolph was already determined to play the part of the evil murderer who kills for money.
まだ来ねえのか。
At the moment, he heard the sound of someone stepping on gravel. He looked up thinking that Butler had finally arrived, but the sound had come from the direction opposite of the mansion. It's, Ava. Yeah, for sure. Kill him.
ルドルフ、よくもうちの人を。
姉貴、生きてたのか。
残念ね、生きてたわよ。お会いに行くね。でもうちの人はダメだったわ。よくも。
With a face obscured by anger and tears, Ava slowly walked closer, her gun raised. Her husband had been killed right in front of her. She probably wouldn't even hesitate. Realizing that a gun quivering with anger was pointed right at his chest, Rudolph backed away. As he pretended to retreat, he approached the gun he had hidden in the shadows.
落ち着けよ兄貴。
And now you're sorry, sir.
その銃を下ろせって。俺だってあんなことを望んだわけじゃない。突然のことで俺にもどうしようもなかったんだ。
いい加減なことを言わないで。
As Ava had said, it really had been a half-baked, pointless thing to say. Rudolph would have said anything if he thought it would calm Ava's emotions before she pulled the trigger, which she looked capable of doing at any moment now. Then Rudolph's foot came in contact with his gun.
とにかく話をしよう。もうじきジョージ君も来るはずだ。
Oh my god, this guy, he killed him and now you're using his name?
いやジョージ君、ここだ。
Rudolph waved as though George was coming from behind Ava. Let Ava's attention turn in that direction. That idiot. My simple big sister has always been a sucker. Die! Oh, no, Ava was the one who shot him. Gunfire. Then a bit later, the sound of something heavier than rain dropping onto the cobblestone.
ルドルフ、あんたの小細工なんて昔からお見通しよ。
The bullet Ava fired went straight into Rudolph's chest. The bullet Rudolph fired at Ava missed, landing near her feet.
やっぱこの銃狙いが下にずれてるぜ。
He dropped the gun into a puddle with a splash, staggered backwards, and leaned against the wall of the
ち
chapel.
げえな。悪党の弾は外れるってのが西部劇のお約束じゃねえか。
Ava dashed up to him, kicked away the gun that had fallen into a puddle, and grabbed Rudolph by the collar.
ジョージはどこ？ジョージは殺させないわよ。
Too late. She was too late.
悪いな、兄貴。もうやっちまった。
嘘よ。
向こうの茂みでやった。行けよ、すぐわかる。
ルドルフ、あんた。
Ava, who claimed to know all of her little brother's tricks, also knew that Rudolph's final words as his consciousness began to fade, thanks to the bullet wound, were not a lie.
よくもジョージを。
An empty shell casing bounced off the cobblestone. The furious gun barrel was pressed against Rudolph's forehead.
撃てよ。それくらいで気は晴れねえだろうが。
A bolt of lightning turned everything to white. However, the wall of the chapel was stained blood red. A red splash, like a crushed tomato, came out from the back of Rudolph's head and covered the wall. Then, leaving a red trail behind him, Rudolph sagged downward, sat on the ground, and fell over.
ジョージ。
Ava dashed off towards the bushes. She found George's corpse almost immediately, screamed, and broke down sobbing. Rudolph's bloody corpse was exposed to the rain that ran down off the eaves. His eyes were still wide open. A fist-sized, flesh-covered hole was open in the back of his head, and his insides were exposed to the open air. Inside was a mixed jelly. What is a mixed jelly? Come on. Mixed jelly of flesh, brains, and spinal fluid. That goop, which looked like someone had mixed it up with a spoon, dripped from his eyes, nose, ears, mouth, and a hole in his head.
お父さん。お父さん。
I mean, of course, for Angie, like anyone, I guess. If your parent was nice to you, the way, they were treating you, like, how do I say this? When they showed themselves to you, it was different, it was good. Of course, Angie is gonna do this, yes. She's gonna cry for him, because she doesn't know this other Rudolph exists, like this one that they're showing right now. So for her, all of her memories about her parents, that is, Kyrie and then Rudolph, were good and were nice. Angie clutched at her head, sobbing and moaning, so it's pretty much mixed emotions for her right now. Like you had the memories of them being good to you, all that stuff, and now you're seeing them doing bad things. And then, you see them dying like this. Like, I can't even imagine what kind of emotions she has right now. Or feelings, I mean. Her father had dirtied his hands with murder over money, and on top of that, he had faced such cruel end, and Angie had been forced to see his corpse. It was hard to imagine a more painful experience for a daughter to go through. I am totally fed up with this. It's a completely meaningless.
ベルンカステルさん、いるんでしょう、どこかに。もうこのゲームをやめてください。何の意味もない。
As if, in answer to that yell, a black shadow appeared a few seats in front of them. Or perhaps she was sitting there the whole time. Maybe we just couldn't see her until we were aware of her. It was without a doubt the back of Berncastle's head.
ベルンカステルさん。
うるさいわよ。静かに鑑賞できないの？
The witch turned around with bored eyes, as though the two people yelling were the strange ones.
もうやめてください。この世界が10月4日から5日の間の閉ざされた猫箱の世界だということは私たちも理解しています。
The games are like messages, or maybe more like a roundabout love letter. A single message can be conveyed over several games. But now we understand. We know that endless tales can seep out of the sealed 2-day cat box. And beyond that, I even know the culprit and the motive. That has already been revealed, and it doesn't even have anything to do with this game.
猫箱の物語という回を私たちは2人とも得ているんです。だからこれ以上このようなゲームを繰り返す理由はないはずです。もしこれがあなたと私たちのゲームだというなら、私たちはすでに答えを得ている。ゲームは終了していいはずです。
うっさいわよ、あんた。
Nam does here.
静かにしろってベルンが言ってんでしょ。
Another shadow appeared, and then the seat next over turned around and scolded the pair.
意味ならあるわよ。見てればわかるわ。
ゲームマスターはあなたですか？
違うわよ。
では誰が？まさかクレルが？
見ていればわかるわ。すぐにね。もう惨劇もクライマックスだわ。生き残るのはどっちかしら。
Berncastle isn't the game master. Then who is? Could Claire have created this cruel tale? I mean, this whole episode was pretty much her though, right? Or are there even more witches playing around with this cat box? Okay, who's next? Butler? Maria? What? I do hope so they don't show Maria. Yeah, it's kinda, I don't want to see that. Or even hear, I mean. The guest house was wrapped in silence. There were no sounds, no trace of anyone's presence, no breathing from anyone alive. There wasn't anything to be heard anymore. If anything could be heard, it was the sound of the murderer's feet stepping across the floor. Kyrie slowly passed through the lounge. In her right hand, was a gun. In her left was a knife. The knife was stained with blood and some was still dripping from the tip, leaving behind red tracks like a demon's footprint. Her hands were filled with the tools of murder, so she wasn't capable of doing anything but murder. In that sense, at that moment, she was clearly and purely a murderer. The murderer went to the entrance hall and then, only after reaching the front door, looked down to see the two blood-stained hands of a killer. Those hands gripped the tools of death that had performed a cruel massacre. Then at last, the murderer realized that it wouldn't even be possible to open the door like this and toss aside a knife. Then the murderer reached out to the door, turned around calmly and spoke.
ごめんね、みんな。でも安心してね。数日後、新聞は不幸な事故を掲載するわ。そしてあなたたちは、事故の瞬間まで何も知らずに楽しく過ごしていたに違いないと、新聞もニュースも噂する人々も言うでしょうね。それはつまり、あなたたちは10月5日の24時まで楽しく過ごしていたということ。
So said the one who had stained that bloody guest house red.
この時間にはいとこ同士で楽しくはしゃいで夜更かしをしている。そして朝が早い使用人の人は高いびき。遅番の人は日誌でも書いて、あるいはほっと一息を入れてる頃でしょうね。そういうことなの。ここでこうしていると、いとこ部屋での大はしゃぎが聞こえてくるようだわ。
Humans outside the cat box would probably never understand what Kyrie was saying. Only she, shut inside the cat box of the explosion accident, could know what it really meant. Outside, the rain poured down heavily. Kyrie almost picked up an umbrella, but then stopped suddenly as if she'd just thought of something. Then she started walking out into the rain, not caring at all whether she got wet or not. Did the murderer not want an umbrella to get in the way of her gun? Or was she hoping that the rain would act as a shower to get the blood off her? Kyrie stopped walking, as though something unexpected had caught her attention. However, this time, it was no whim of hers.
うちの人、よくも殺したわね。
Honestly, like, throughout the whole story, like, Ava would trash the other women, right? For example, especially Natsuhi, Rosa, and then, yeah, she would undermine Jessica sometimes. And yeah, Shannon as well, right? But she never really crossed paths with Kyrie. Her treatment with Kyrie was different throughout the whole story. So now, looking at them like this, and Ava pointing a gun at her, it really is different, I mean.
あら。
Maybe that's why it was presented like that, because Ava and Kyrie has, or something like this happened with them, right? Like they fought.
エヴァ姉さん、ショックだわ。あの距離で外してたなんて。私も驚いてるわ。
Or Ava is just smart to not try and do anything to Kyrie. Yeah, probably that.
まさか自分が生きてたなんてね。礼拝堂裏の地下階段から戻ってきたの？なら。ええ。礼拝堂の前でルドルフにも会ったわ。元気そうだった？ええ。兄弟で久しぶりに仲良く語り合ったわ。そう目立ちたがり屋なのにここ一番で頼りない人ね。やっぱりあの人は私がいないとダメなのね。
After that short exchange of words, Kyrie already knew that Rudolph had been killed. However, no trace of urgency or panic rose to her face. Yeah, like look at this, nothing. For some reason, right? Like, her lovely, lovely Rudolph that she'd do anything for had died, and nothing. She just closed her eyes with her usual unconcerned expression. But for example, if she won here, yeah, she would definitely do the same thing that she did with Jessica to Ava. But I guess right now, she's just not showing any emotion because, yeah, she's facing Ava with a gun and she needs to win. And when she opened them again, she had regained her composed smile.
ありがとう。感謝するわ。これで本当に私が全てを独り占めね。
Like, I can see it internally, her being super angry that Rudolph had died, but she's not just showing it.
その服の血は何？あんた、ゲストハウスから出てきたわね。まさか。ええ、そうよ。今私、殺人事件の真っ最中なの。
I mean, literally no one is left right now. Yeah, the only one left, I guess, is Butler. They didn't show him. That's it.
殺したの？みんな！マリアちゃんまで？生かして朝を迎える理由がないわ。朝になれば騒ぎになって面倒になる。無線で島の外に連絡したり、助けを求めたりするかもしれない。だからこれが極めてベストなのよ。チェス盤をひっくり返して考えればね。人でなし！
You monster.
金に目がくらんで人の命を奪うなんて。あなただってうまいことやったわ。あれは事故よ。殺すつもりなんてなかった。
I mean, I guess for Ava, you could say it was an accident. But the problem is, yeah. I mean, she was holding a gun, right? So maybe you could say it was just an accident. I mean, yeah.
あんたとは違うの。
Yeah, unlike for Kyrie that just shoots someone instantly. Like the beginning, at least, for the arguments there, or last time, was when Ava, yeah, sudden discharge of the gun. That started it all.
違わないわよ。もし銃の暴発が起こらなければ、あなたたちはいつまでも口論と取っ組み合いを続けていたわ。そうすればあなたたちも数手遅れで私と同じ答えに行き着いたはず。
Maybe, who knows? I mean, if the gun didn't fire though, like, I mean, it's hard to say what scenario we're gonna get, right? Maybe Kyrie would just shoot them one by one then.
私は殺人鬼じゃないわ。いいえ、なり損ねただけの立派な殺人鬼よ。エヴァ姉さんは暴発に救われただけ。
You've just been saved by that accidental discharge.
あの幸運がなければ、そして私があなたより先に実行に移さなければ、あなたが私の役をやっていた。
I don't think Ava would do this though. Like what Kyrie has done? Yeah, I don't think so.
それだけはあなたがいくら否定しようとも変わらない異なる未来の真実なのよ。
And not really.
わけのわからないこと言わないで。
Like Ava wouldn't waste everyone. Like, yeah, of course, obviously not Hideyoshi and George, but the other kids as well. Or yeah, the other members. She's not gonna do that. Sure, she was panicking at the time when, yeah, Kraus and Natsuhi were dead. And of course, they were gonna be the one to be blamed because they were the one who was holding the gun and accidentally shot it, right? You could say that. But, yeah, she wouldn't go around and kill everyone because of that. Back then, she had probably been saved by that accidental discharge by a coincidence. If the argument had continued much longer, she would surely have grown a desire to kill Kraus and the others, and might even have carried it out. No, I think Ava is a lot of things, but I don't think she would do that, yeah. She simply could not deny the existence of that demon deep within her heart. No, like Kyrie is different, man. Like she has been bred to be like this. Ruthless. Only the theater goers knew. They knew that she could become a killer in another world. Kyrie, who didn't have the theater going ability, knew this fact as well. Maybe there really was something extraordinary about her after all. So for some time, Ava could only grind her teeth in silence, still pointing her gun. I mean, in the third episode, they shown Ava, right? That's maybe shooting other people there on that episode. Maybe shooting, killing the other people there. But the Ava in reality, it doesn't feel like she would do that. At least to me, the way I look at it. Yeah, I don't think so.
私にはわからないわ。あなたも自分のお腹を痛めて子を産んだ経験を持つ母のはず。
Because yeah, you could see how she reacted afterwards after this incident, right? In episode 4, she was a changed person, of course. She became the head, she got everything, but her family, all of them were gone. Like, that was a big exchange. I don't think she would do that though. But who knows, right?
命の尊さを
With the
知ら
cat
ないわ
box?
けがない。
They keep talking about cat box this, cat box that. You don't know what's real. It's just, yeah, the way I look at Ava here. But yeah, for you guys, what are your thoughts? Would Ava would have done it? Let's say, if the conversation had gone more, and yeah, it grew and it grew, would she have killed everyone? Let's say except George and Hideyoshi. Would she have done that, like what Kiri is doing?
そのあなたがどうしてこれだけのことができるの？子供なんて勝手にできるわ。そういう話じゃないでしょ。子はかすがいって言うわよね。それが何？
Wait, what did she say? The thing about kids, if you just sleep around, they get made all by themselves. They say that children are bonds, right?
子は夫をつなぎ止めておくためのかすがいなのよ。
Damn, she's saying that, yeah, she had Angie, so she could, yeah, be bound to Rudolph. And Angie is watching this. Her mom saying this.
ルドルフさんに私のことを認めさせ、あの女から彼を取り戻すためのかすがいだった。
So technically, yes, Angie was the bond to make Rudolph's son acknowledge me, so I could take him back from that woman.
でもルドルフさんはあなたが殺したわ。だったらわかるでしょ？わかるってどういう意味？私はもう誰かの妻でもないし、母のつもりもないということよ。私は私。キリエ。ルドルフさんが死んだ今、後ろ宮でさえないわ。私は私の得になるように生きる。そうね。ルドルフは死んで、あんたは妻ではなくなったかもしれない。でも、エンジェちゃんがいるでしょ？あんたはまだ母であり続けるはずよ。言ったでしょ？かすがいって。
Yeah, she's saying that Angie was a tool.
ルドルフさんがいなくなった今、エンジェは私にとって必要なものじゃないわ。
Damn.
あんた、それが母親が子に対して言うことなの？ネバ姉さん、やめましょうよ、綺麗事は。
I think you can see from Ava's reaction here. How can any mother say that about her own daughter? I had a theory, yes, back then that maybe Ava had good intentions with Angie when after the incident, right? But Angie, how do I say this? Denied her the love, right? And Angie said that, yeah, you killed my parents, so it became different. And then that's why Ava treated her badly. So, I mean, I could say that, yeah, you could say that in the beginning, Ava wanted to maybe start a new life again. After the incident here, start a new life with Angie, but she got denied. And then, yeah, that's what happened after that. How bad she treated Angie after that. I guess maybe all of the anger that she got from maybe like facing Kyrie, facing Rudolph, it came back, right? It showed again. And yeah, she treated Angie because she treated her badly, I mean, because of that.
綺麗事。私たちって子供が欲しくて結婚したの？違うでしょ？好きな男と一緒に暮らしたいから結婚したんでしょ？そして結婚したんなら、その男を一生手放したくないと思うでしょ？子供はそのための武器じゃない。そんなこと考えて子供作ったりなんかしないわよ！そんなこと考えて子供を作ることもできるのよ。
I mean, that's real though. What Kiri is saying is actually real. Like, some people would use kids so they can be bounded or bound to a man. Especially, for example, like in these days today, if the man is rich, for example, yeah, easily. Some people would do that. Kiri kept on speaking emotionlessly, ignoring the falling rain. Those kids, yeah, they would just be used as tools for the partner or the parents' gain. Her relaxed smile didn't falter for an instant.
エンジェなんてルドルフさんを縛り付けるためのただの鎖、あるいは家族ごっこをするための子供の役という名の駒。私にとってエンジェはルドルフさんの前で良き母を演じるときに必要な駒なだけよ。
あんた、それをエンジェちゃんの前で言える？
さすがに気の毒だから本人には言わないわ。悪いお母さんを許してねとでも書いて姿をくらますつもり。ローザさんとマリアちゃんを見ればわかるでしょ？ルドルフさんがいない今、エンジェなんて私を縛る鎖なだけ。私は元のたった一人の切り絵に戻り、のんびりと余生を楽しむつもりよ。新しい挑戦、新しい人生、ひょっとしたら新しい恋もあるかもね。
それでも人間なの？それでもエンジェちゃんの母なの？
エンジェなんかしたことじゃないわよ。
Ouch, that really hurts. Who gives a damn about Angie?
あんなクソガキ、可愛いと思ったことなんて一度だってないわよ。
I mean, after all Angie went through. No, what I mean is, after she wanted to look for her parents, to look at them again, to find them again, and then the mom is saying this, I've never liked that brat.
あんたって人は。
あなただってもう家族ごっこから解放されたでしょ？謳歌しましょうよ、女の自由を。感謝してほしいわ。ジョージ君も殺してあげたんだから。
この人でなしが
Hey, the way she's laughing is like a witch now. She was the witch. She was the witch who destroyed the Oshinomiya family. The real witch, I mean. The two yells and the sound of gunfire thundered across the dark rose garden. Slowly, Ava fell backwards. Then she landed in a puddle, scattering countless drops of water. Across from her, Kirei spun around as though dancing. Beautiful black rose petals scattered around her. The petals were dark red. As they sprayed from her throat, she spun around in a circle and slowly crumpled. Then she fell to the ground, sending muddy water flying. The two women had shot and fallen. However, when the thunder roared, only Ava sat back up. Ava hadn't been shot. Furie's intensity had made her fall backwards, but the bullet had once again slipped right past her. Ava cursed her good luck. Why couldn't this luck have saved her husband or her son? Die there for Angie's son's sake as well.
あんたは爆発事故で死ぬ。死ぬ直前の瞬間まで置いてきた娘のことを心配していた。そう刻むわ。猫箱の蓋の上にね。
When Kiri heard this, blood dripped from her grinning mouth, and she seemed to say something in response. However, her voice came out only as globs of blood from the hole in her throat, not words. But honestly, you could say that, yeah, Ava actually saved Angie, at least from the truth. Because, yeah, this is what she said. She didn't even say anything, right? About what really happened on the island. And then, yeah, like, in detail, let's say. And yeah, she saved Angie from this. Imagine if she said it to Angie. I mean, Angie would not, yeah, would not believe this anyways. But still, she hid this from her.
母さん、こんなの嘘よ、嘘よ。エンジェ、どうか落ち着いて。これはゲームです。あれがあなたのお母さんの本心のわけがない。
I mean, who knows? This might be real though.
こんなのゲームマスターがキリエおばさんの駒に言わせてるだけに過ぎません。
But saying that did nothing, I mean, to calm Angie's sobs. I don't blame her. Even if she knows it's just a game, she's been forced to see not only her mother's death, but also her mother announcing that she was the culprit of a mass murder who didn't even love her own daughter. Anyone would sob after hearing that.
ベルン・カステルさん、もういい加減にしてください。誰がゲームマスターだろうと知ったことじゃない。今すぐこの無意味なゲームを終わりにしてください。
When Leon yelled this, the theater suddenly went pitch black, swallowed in darkness. However, that wasn't enough to shock Leon. Leon continued to yell Burnt Castle's name into the darkness, telling the witch to stop this game. Then a single beam of light shone down upon the stage. Claire. Okay, so let's take a break here for now, but that was one intense scene, man. All of this tea party is insane, yeah. Like, oh my god, this woman. Evil. I told you she was bad. Yeah, she was really bad. Like, they didn't really want to show her that much. Not even that much, like, her personality, or not her personality, her backstory, I guess. Throughout the, like, let's say question arcs, yeah, it was mostly like, as I was saying earlier, mostly like Ava, Natsuhi, then we got Rosa, all of the other ones, but these two were pretty much mysterious. Sure, they had a lot of scenes still, but these two were just mysterious all throughout, and I guess that's why. And yeah, big reveal, I guess, in this tea party, this episode is, it's them. And the way that they were saying stuff. I mean, both of them are extremely bad, but yeah, she's much more worse. But he's, I guess, much more less. He's definitely scared of Kyrie. Yeah, that's why he did what he did. But still, it was, yeah, who knows? This is real? Probably, most likely. I believe so. I'll believe that this is real. even with all the cat box talk, all of that stuff. I think this is the closest thing, unless there's something again, let's say in another episode, in episode 8, if there's more stuff that could be revealed, maybe of course we'll change our mind, but right now I think this is the most real thing that happened in ROKKENJIMA, the ROKKENJIMA incident, that we can get for now. If there's nothing that we can get in the future, this is mostly likely, or most likely, I mean, what happened here. And it was just sad, unexpected. Jessica, George didn't have a fighting chance even. They were called there unexpectedly. They did not expect their uncle to do that to them, and they just did it. Thank God they didn't show Maria's, right? I didn't want to hear something like that. So at least they skipped that. Butler they didn't show. Maybe we're still gonna get more. We'll see. We're not over yet for this tea party. But other than that, it was insane. Yeah, this feels different. Like, I guess after the question arcs, whenever, or maybe like during the question arcs, let's say episode 4, when characters are still let's say dying and stuff, it didn't really feel like anything anymore, because yeah, it would just be like, oh, we're gonna do another episode and one of the characters are gonna die again. It didn't feel like anything anymore after, a couple of episodes. And especially in the answer arcs, when they were dying, I was like, nothing anymore. For real. But in this episode in general, episode 7, them dying like this, it was different. It felt different. It felt much more sad than how it felt in the other episodes. Yeah. And we're gonna find out what's gonna happen, or still gonna happen, I mean. So anyways, we're gonna concede this and do more of Umineko When They Cry, episode 7 in the next one. So I'll just see you then, guys. Bye bye.